All right, what's going on, everybody? Nosebleed section's back at it. You know me, Mr. CEO, who's 90% himself, and I am joined with one of my colleagues in Sports Mark and one of our people from the Three Count podcast, Benny Thurman. What's going on, man?
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing, man. Another day, a whole bunch of NFL stuff. Today, we are going to go over the state of the Giants, what we saw. There was no preseason, unfortunately, but I'm going to pass it actually over to Benny tonight. I'm going to let him be the MC tonight, run some things. Got some questions. We're going to bounce off each other. So, pay attention, listen out, give us some comments and feedback on everything that you guys hear. And you got it, man. Take it away.
All right. Well, first things first. Again, welcome to the Nosebleed section brought to you by the Sports Mark Analyst. My name is Benny Thurman III, normally of the Three Count podcast. I'm here with my cousin Joe Anderson, Mr. CEO. First and foremost, as Joe just stated, we got a couple of days until the season starts up. It honestly snuck up on me. Like, legitimately, tomorrow is KC. What is it, KC Houston?
Yeah, it is.
Good Lord. Like I said, it just came out of nowhere. But anyway, we're on Monday Night Football, opening up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the new COVID NFL. So, without any preseason, we didn't have anything to really focus on as far as, us against another opponent, seeing how we actually performed against a defense in a live simulation outside of our own defense, which Joe Judge, from what I saw, did a really good job when it came to setting up these scrimmages, setting up situations. And one of them, we even had, of course, like the live clock and everything like that. We went out there in a full game situation rather than him putting us in certain, sets. Like, okay, we're going to do goal line plays and all kinds of other stuff. We actually went through a whole game with kickoffs and everything. But first and foremost, we're going to go over the person who we're going to ride or die with, the man who now has the reins fully, our quarterback, Daniel Jones. Joe, what did you see? What did you like? What did you dislike? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, going back to last season and even now, just what we've seen and what we've heard and read as far as like the training camp and everything. I mean, I think the guys, our franchise. I mean, at this point, I feel like you almost not you like have to, but I mean, if you're a real Giants fan, you're not going to sit here and keep bashing being negative. Like if you're a real fan of any team, state you claim for better or worse, like you have to like rock with that team. You don't sit here and just keep crapping on your team for the next like who knows how long. So I mean, that just off of saying that, like I think the guy came out and other than like the fumbles problems that he had last year. I think he came out in the rookie season, and I think he did really well. I mean, considering the lack of O-line play, inconsistencies, and his weapons were inconsistent, and Sterling was out for, like a lot of time. Well, Tate was out for a lot of time. Evan Ingram was gone. Saquon missed time for the first time. Again, the O-line, which wasn't the greatest. I think he made most of a lot of stuff that he dealt with it. I mean, Slayton came out of nowhere and was a great weapon for him. So when you see all those pictures of him in the offseason, you saw the kid rock. He put some muscle on. I think it was 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. And the kid just looks sturdy. He looks, he looks like he's ready to go. And now I know I think it was either I read it in practice or in the scrimmage. I know he fumbled once or twice in practice. I know I was reading, I believe it was Art Stapleton, the beat writer, was saying he, and I believe it was Gates, took a lap around practice. Joe Judge had him running laps for everything. So I think he fumbled one snap. I think it was a low snap, and then the other one I think he got strip sacked in practice. So I think he fumbled maybe 2 or 3 times in practice from what I read, if I can remember correctly. I mean, I think with the O-line this year, I think it's going to be better than last year. I've heard ups and downs from Andrew Thomas, but I've heard that he's been doing well against Marcus Golden and well against Lorenzo Carter and O'Shane Jimenez. And then Gates has stepped in, and he's proving to be probably the starting center. And then they see a lot of problems in him, and I know we're gonna rock with Clem Cam Fleming to start at the right tackle position. So I mean, to me, overall, I think the O line sounds a lot more sturdy, and I think you know we always talk about like I feel like we could have gotten Dimes another receiver or two, maybe somebody with some size. I know people were talking about Hakeem Butler. Now he got cut from the Cardinals.
Arizona, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's about 6. He runs about 6'4", 6'5". I know he was in visiting with the Jets. I don't know if anything came to fruition of that. You know, a lot of people want like that plaques target. They want 6'4", 6'5", give the guy a bigger target to aim for.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know a lot of people were kind of asking to get somebody like that for Daniel Jones, but I don't know. I mean, as long as the O line holds up, we pray for everybody to stay healthy as you always do. But Saquon will be back. He'll be back in full health. I hope Evan Ingram has a great year. I hope Golden Tate can stay healthy because I know he's been nursing a hamstring injury. So I know he's kind of iffy and questionable for week 1, which kind of sucks for the Steelers, who have a pretty good defense. So I mean, just even losing him off of that offense would kind of hurt us. So I mean, I have a good positive outlook for Daniel Jones for this season. I think he's going to continue to progress. He can, I mean, shoot, I would say I don't want any fumbles from the guy, but what was he had? He had 13 fumbles last year or something like that?
It was 18.
It was 18, right? Okay. Yeah, 18 fumbles last year. Geez, I even half that, I'd be okay. I really want to say 2, but I want to say 0, honestly, but dang.
Well, you got to put it into perspective. A lot of I can't remember exactly which analyst actually went and did it, but I'm going to say there's a couple of analysts actually went and did it. He went and he broke down every single one of Daniel Jones's fumbles, and a lot of them had to do with Jones needing an extra 1/10 of a second in the pocket to get the ball off. So honestly, just experience and the O-line getting better are going to eliminate a lot of those fumbles right then and there. Just because of the fact that experience is going to give him the opportunity to, or is going to allow him to go through his progressions a lot faster, which last year, I think one of the things that actually got under a lot of Giants fans' skin is the fact that all of us are used to super vet Eli Manning, who's been in the league since Jesus was born and walking on the earth. So my man was going through his progression. It was natural for him. It was take the snap, boom, boom, boom. All right, I don't see what's open. I'm going to check it down. I know what to do. Daniel Jones, he's out here. You're talking about a rookie quarterback, 21, 22 years old, takes his snap, and now it's, okay, X isn't open. Is Y. Y's not open. All right, can I get it to my Z? I'm not sure. So it's a matter of us having a little bit of patience with the fact that the game is going to have to slow down for him, on top of the fact that now we're looking at what should be. I'm not going to sit up here and just throw it out there as if it's a guarantee. What should be an improved offensive line this year should help him out a lot. On top of the fact that the other thing that we didn't have at all last year was a full complement of all of Daniel Jones's weapons. He never had everybody on the field at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It was either Golden Tate with the early suspension, Sterling Shepard being hurt, Evan Ingram being hurt, Saquon Barkley being hurt. It just was what it was last year. We were going through some serious, pains and stuff. But for all of that, the man still went out there and put up 24 touchdowns and was out there looking in certain situations like a guy that you can depend on when it comes to, actually putting the ball in the end zone when it needed to be put in there. One thing I noticed right off of the bat, again, I was an Eli ride or die. The man's arm is 1,000 times what Eli's was. I'm sitting up here seeing all of this zip on the ball. I'm like, who the hell is this throwing the ball?
And the crazy part is they had arm concerns for him out of Duke too. They're they talking about how he has a weak arm.
I don't know what they were talking about. Now, granted, maybe he can't pinpoint the ball 70 yards down the field like a Tom Brady could back in 07. But that doesn't mean the man has a weak arm.
Yeah.
What do you have for Jones? And I'm leading into this. We talked about this yesterday, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get this done today. What are your expectations for success for him this year? Meaning, what would he have to do in order for you to say he had a successful year?
Um, Definitely cut down on the turnovers. I mean, the interceptions were. He didn't have. Can't remember off the top of my head how many he
It
had.
wasn't. His
No, it was
interceptions were not bad, and
no.
honestly, there's an outlier game in there.
I want to say it was like 6 or like 8, and I think of those, or maybe it was like 12 or something. But I think even of
I think
that,
it was 12.
it might have been 12. But I think even that thing, I think it was like 3 or 4 of them were that Packers game, I believe.
The Patriots game.
Was it the Patriots game? I don't think he had the greatest game against the Packers either.
It was the Patriots game. That's why I said there's an outlier in there.
Okay, I couldn't remember which one of those. But I knew he had not. He wasn't bad on the interception, so I'm not too crazy about that. It's the fumbles definitely. Fumbles have to be at least half, if not like from 18, it has to go to at least like 5 or 6, something.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that it's like we said, like it's all about his progressions and having to go through them, and not just him, it's the O line because the lack of like a left tackle, he's over here looking, and sometimes doesn't even get through. He looks at an X and he's over here getting strip sacked from behind, and
Mm-hmm.
People are just like, oh, Daniel Jones with the fumble. It's like, but I literally have like 0.8 seconds to throw the ball because my left tackle got beat off the line by an end. So like,
Yep.
But of course, it's going to fall mostly on the quarterback. It's going to fall in the tackle position. Hopefully, Andrew Thomas can sure that up this year. So,
Mm-hmm.
You hope to see progression on the line. You hope to see that from him also. Like I said, I would say cut down on the turnovers, definitely. The interceptions, yes. The fumbles, the fumbles, yes. The interceptions, yes. So turnovers all in general need to be cut down on. Definitely an increase in touchdowns. I want to say, what do you have, 20 last year?
24.
24. Okay. That's not even bad as a rookie quarterback. It's not bad.
Not at all, especially considering he only played 12 games.
I mean, 12 games. Like, I remember I was saying that last year. Had he played those other 4, I had him clocked at like 30. If you,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, that's like what, two a game, and maybe
That's
like
2 a game.
Yeah, I was like, you knock out 2 a game, you're at 30. So I had him pegged for 30 last year if he played those other 16. So if he plays a full 16 this year, I want to see at least 30 touchdowns, at least half the turnovers, or at least I want to see like 30 touchdowns and like 9 to 8 picks. That'd be cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
something. I want to see progression out of him. I don't want to see. I know people go through a sophomore slump. I don't want to see it. Like I think we have solid weapons between our receivers. Ingram's healthy right now. Caden Smith's healthy. You got Eric Tomlinson. You got Lavoine Toilolo that help out on the O-line block. And I think the O-line is just getting better and better. So you got Andy Thomas at the tackle. Hernandez is playing the guard. Gates is at the center. Zeitler's healthy. He's back at the right guard. Cam Fleming's in at least for a year. Cam Fleming's there at the right tackle spot to get that hurt. Another year to develop with Mark Colombo. And then hopefully if Cam moves on somewhere, gets a better lucrative deal, then we slide Matt Purden, who had a year of just sitting there and learning from, Colombo and all of them. He steps in. The O-line is not only solid and just good, but they're also very young. The oldest one being Zeitler, who will probably be 31, 32, I believe, next year at this time. So I think Dan Jones has all like I said, I would have wished for maybe one more receiver with some more size to give him another target. But, all in all, I think he and the offense in general are primed for a good season as long as they can all stay healthy and consistent. So.
All right. Don't worry. Like I said, I'm going to keep pushing my Jamar Chase for Giants agenda.
Not going to happen. I keep telling you that.
I know it's not going to happen, but it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to speak positivity into existence.
Micah Parsons. Just saying.
So,
Micah Parsons.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to DJ, you look at Eli Manning's best season, and I'm not talking about 2011 because everybody calls 2011 his best season. I mean, his best statistical season was 2015. He threw for 4,400 yards. He had 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I look at those numbers being the pinnacle of the best quarterback in New York Giants history. Daniel Jones, in 12 games last year, was 11 touchdowns off of the best quarterback in New York Giants history. His rookie year. So, here's what I'm getting with Daniel Jones, all right? I'm kind of sort of among the same mindset as you, where it is that I'm looking at it and I'm thinking 30, 32 touchdowns, because he looked like he was averaging 2 touchdowns a game anyway. So, again, that doesn't seem to be asking much, all right? The one thing that would concern me, well, not necessarily concern me, but the one thing that I would say would be working against him is I really have a feeling that we're going to be running a run-heavy offense, just because of the fact that Jason Garrett is going to be using Saquon to set up passing more than anything else. I think Barkley is going to be the one that benefits from this offense more than Daniel Jones does. However, with a guy like Saquon Barkley out there with a chip on his shoulder because he was hurt last year, and I have a feeling that he's kind of pissed off. With a guy like Evan Ingram, who, if I recall correctly, this would be the 5th and final year of his contract, his rookie contract. I think so, because we're talking he was drafted in 2017. No, it'd be next year. So he has the stigma of the oft-injured tight end. You have all of these murmurs from the media, people like us, who want a tall receiver, a Plexico Burress type receiver. And we keep throwing that name out there because of the fact that Plexico Burress, although you had a guy on the team like Amani Toomer who was always money, who was always the most reliable person in the entire locker room when it came to the receiving corps.
Yep.
Plexico Burress was the bailout. That was the, oh my God, I need to get this ball out of here, and I need to get it to somebody who's going to make a play. That was Plexico Burress because he was 6'5". He was 6'5", and his wingspan was about 387 feet. So you had that option, and that's why we as Giants fans, for those who don't understand why it is that people keep clamoring for a tall wide receiver, that's it. It's just the bailout option. On top of the fact you see a guy like, Julio Jones go out there and everybody's just like, yo, come on, we need to do something like that. It's just,
for real.
But I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have a number on success for him, but I honestly think that if he does exactly how you basically map stuff out for him, cut down on those turnovers, improve on those progressions, don't force the ball as much as you did last year, because even though you got away with some of them and was able to fit those balls into those windows and stuff, a lot of that was, I wanted to call it rookie luck, because of the fact that they don't have their defenses don't have film on you. They don't know your tendencies like they will in your second year, so they're not going to pick up on stuff like that like they would during the rookie year. So I'm looking at it like, don't force the ball as much. Trust your offensive line, but make sure you remember the fact that you have an outlet on damn near every play, and that outlet is probably the most exciting player in the NFL. And by exciting, I mean dangerous.
Word.
So that's what I'm looking forward to with him. Like I just want to see consistent improvement. I don't want to see a regression. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see the first time he fumbles, he starts to look a little dejected or anything like that. Keep your head up, young man. Like I said, the shit's gonna happen, but as long as you are making steps forward towards becoming that elite quarterback that we need in this organization, I'm cool with it. Now, the reason why I brought this up is because there was a panel there was actually on the Giants official page where they had several different beat writers from the New York Giants, and one of them came out there and said, "Well, Eli Manning, he made the playoffs, his second year, so that's my barometer of success for Daniel Jones." And I'm just like, dude, relax. All right, come on. Eli Manning was in much better position to make that run at that point. There was no COVID. He was not breaking in a new coach with a new offense. His running back, although I do believe that Saquon Barkley is physically more gifted than a Tiki Barber was also getting ready to go into the greatest run of his career at that point. On top of the fact that now you have established receivers on that team in a Plexico Burris, in an Amani Toomer. You had a Jeremy Shockey he wasn't, the fragile Evan Ingram. You had pieces there. Your defense had leadership on it with your Michael Strahans, your Osi Umenyoras. You had an emerging rookie in a Justin Tuck that year. This is a whole building process right there. So if anybody has the idea in their head that for Daniel Jones it is playoffs or bust and we go get Trevor Lawrence, get that thought out of your mind right now because it's unrealistic. Anyway, on to what we believe for the offense. Listen, this is what happens on the 3 count all the time, all right? We get in a rant and we start, fly kicking people, right, virtually. I'm not advocating any violence yet. As far as our thoughts for the offense this year, who do you believe is going to be the offensive MVP, and why is it Saquon Barkley?
Oh, I'm happy you already know. I mean, come on now. Was it the flags that behind me that told you? I got to me it's gonna be Saquon or it's gonna be Daniel Jones. Honestly, I mean, now listen. Now I played O-line in high school, so I hated it, but I did it. So I do tend to watch the offensive line during games. I'm more of a defensive-minded person, but I still do watch the offensive line during a lot of games. So I'll see like if a guy misses on a block or if a guy reaches on a DN rushing off the edge, or a guy's not kick setting right, or if he takes the wrong steps or whatever, or a guy lets a guy in his gap. So I do like watch the O line So I mean I'm not gonna sit here and just completely say the O line is not gonna do anything or they're not worthy or whatever. I would love Andrew Thomas to come out and get my offensive MVP. Just completely be a franchise left tackle from week 1, just lock down, no sacks allowed or anything. I love that. Saquon's come in the league 2 straight years, has looked the league up. The guy's like a step away or a juke away or a back step or a spin move away from a touchdown almost every time he touches the damn ball. 1,000-yard rusher both seasons, and he missed a couple games last year too. He still hit over 1,000. So I mean, like I said, if I had to, I'd probably say Saquon. And then if I didn't say Saquon, I'd say Daniel Jones. And then my third would just be the offensive line. Or honestly, I want to put the whole O-line first because I want them to be great. I'm tired. I'm tired of watching us get rolled. I'm tired of the quarterback on the ground getting scraped off the freaking pavement or getting scraped off the field every play. I hate watching replays of our quarterback on his back 3 plays in a row and crawling to get up, and then the old lineman just standing over him what happened? Come on, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of watching this. It's getting to the point where just give me a helmet and some shoulder pads and let me do it at this point. I can't stand to watch this anymore. So honestly, if I want to say the offensive line. I want the offensive line to be the MVPs of the season. I want them to come together and have a dominant season, rushing, averaging 100+ yards a game on the ground. Daniel Jones is taking naps in the backfield between passes. That's what I want. That's what I want. So I'm going to go outside the box. I'm going to say the offensive line. I want them to be the offensive MVPs this season. And I just say
Oh,
the whole O-line because I want a unit. I want them to, they're a unit. You're a unit, so I want them to be the offensive MVP. That's my pick.
all right. As far as I'm concerned, excuse me. As far as I'm concerned, my answer is short and sweet. It's Saquon Barkley. Um, it, aside from Daniel Jones, this offense is going to live and die by Saquon. Um, it is tailor made for the run setting up the pass, and as a former, I want to say former offensive lineman myself, but I'm not. I was a tight end. That doesn't count.
You don't count.
But I know that's what I said. It doesn't count.
I was
Um,
a guard.
it, as a guy who also watches the offensive line, somebody who knows something about offensive line play, offensive linemen do not like to drop back. They love to impose their will upon the defense. That means downhill running. And all of this bullshit outside, all of that nonsense that we was doing with Pat Shermer and Ben McAdoo, that shit's over. All right. What we were about to do is we were about to establish an identity, just like Joe Judge says, and that is Saquon Barkley is going to smack you in the mouth and leave footprints on your ass as he's running by you. And I have a feeling, like I said, I got a feeling that this dude is going to have the ball in his hands in so many different ways, including as much as I don't want to see it, the Wildcat, because we saw that in some practices.
True.
On to the next one. Who are you most hyped for on this offense?
On the O line? Are you
on offense, period.
On
yeah.
the offense? Well, you see where my mindset is. Offensive line, like
yeah,
that's what I'm hyped for. Because even last year we were talking about like you saw like all the inconsistencies, and the thing is like I love Dimes. We've got a peek of what he can do. We just want him to be more consistent. I've been watching Saquon since he was like a freshman at Penn State, so I've been watching Saquon. So I knew the kid, from day one. I was like, yo, I want him to be a giant. Like, so I knew what they could do. Like, I watched college. We both watch college football avidly. So there's a lot of people that like Sterling Shepard. We remember out of Oklahoma. We remember Slayton out of Auburn, Golden Tate, Dame. Like, even like Evan Ingram from Ole Miss, Caden Smith from Stanford. Like, all these people. Like, I've seen them play, and like all that stuff is great. And I know they're capable of. So if I had to say, again, I'm going to probably stick with the offensive line on this because I'm tired of us being in second and 11s and third and 13s every freaking drive. So, one, I want to see – well, I want to say this also. I want to see what Caden Smith is going to do with Evan Ingram. Now Evan Ingram's healthy. I want to see Caden Smith's role in the offense because it's probably going to obviously decrease because I'm probably going to defer to Evan first. But I know Evan's a willing blocker, but willing doesn't always mean you're good at it.
Yep.
So if Caden's a better blocker, maybe Caden goes in more. And if his good blocking leads to better runs, which leads to better play actions, which leads to Caden leaking out somewhere, I want to see what's going to happen there. And then again, I'm like you just said, like I want to see downhill blocking, downhill. I want to be eating pancakes every play. Like I just I want the O-line to have fun. I want them to like know they're dominating their opponent. I want to see them like on the sideline with like pancakes and syrup. Like I want them to do some stupid crap going on the sideline. Like
yep.
I want them to be going crazy this year because it's like, yo, for the 60 minutes of this whole game, we're just punching you in the mouth. And I don't care who's in front of me, I'm just going to beat you every single play that I'm in front of you. Until you go home with your tail between your legs. I don't care who you are. You're a rookie. You could be a 12-year pro. You're all pro. You could be a Hall of Fame caliber player. I don't care who you are. I play for the Giants O-line. I'm running straight through you if you decide to line up against me. So that's what I want to see. I want to see that O-line go out and dominate. I want to see. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm hyped for. Because last year we talked about so much about. It seemed like we were playing offense with two linemen. We had Will Hernandez some plays, and we had Zeitler when he was healthy, and then
Mm-hmm.
Gates slid in, and Gates kind of helped out at the right tackle spot. But even Nick Gates himself said he was more comfortable as an interior blocker because there's a smaller
Mm-hmm.
space, and he can get his hands on people better, and he can physically dominate. So we talked about Gates at the center position. So I mean, now you have like again, you have Thomas, you have Hernandez, you have Gates starting center, you have Zeitler to right guard. You gotta see what Cam Fleming can do. And you also know they have Matt Pert behind them. So I want that O line. It's gonna take time, for them to be a cohesive unit. But that's what I'm most hyped for. I want to see that O line get out there and just start running the ball down people's throats. All these 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s, we could just turn around and hand the ball off and know we're getting that first down, rather than getting rolled backwards on a 3rd and 1. And now it's 3rd and 5. We got stopped 4 yards in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm most hyped for on the offense. So.
All right, I'm gonna have to cheat a little on mine. For this year, I'm gonna say I'm most hyped for Evan Ingram, just because of the fact that I feel I was actually speaking to somebody about this today. Evan Ingram is probably the Giant that pisses me off the most, and it's not because he did anything wrong. It's the fact that I can see all this potential in him, and it just hasn't happened yet.
I get it.
So one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is just because of the fact that what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to be running a bit of a, I don't want to say an exact copy, but it's going to have some elements of the Dallas Cowboy offense, which thrived on getting, of course, the run setting up the pass, but also getting your tight ends into the seams, right? Which is something that the Giants have been begging, well, Giants fans have been begging the Giants to do since, I don't know, Jeremy Shockey was our tight end. Maybe before that, Howard Cross.
Oh,
I mean, I could throw Pete Mitchell's name out there too. Like, we've been begging for that to happen ever since, like, grade school. Like, but I see an opportunity. This is, we got this golden door that's just been opened up. A guy who knows how to use tight ends. You have a former quarterback as your, offensive coordinator. A guy who knows what he's doing. A guy who took a 4th-round pick in Dak Prescott and turned him into an all-star. A guy who was working with a guy like Tony Romo, an undrafted free agent, and turned him into, again, he's in the conversation. He's probably not going to get in, but he's in the conversation for the Hall of Fame. So a guy who knows how to work with stuff, and both of those quarterbacks knew how to target where their tight ends were. Now, granted, part of that had to do with the fact that the Giants had a philosophy to not cover tight ends, but but it can't be overstated the fact that, like I said, when you look at guys like Jason Witten and Blake Jarwin, they knew how to figure out where to get inside the zone, how to break that zone, how to go up that seam and stuff like that. And that had a lot to do with Jason Garrett. And with Jason Garrett at the helm of the offense, I'm looking at him like Evan Ingram, and to a lesser effect, Caden Smith. Y'all got some opportunities. Now, the reason why I say that I'm cheating is because I'm going to say long-term hype, offensive line. Because, and I'm looking at it like this. If Nick Gates is the apparent center, like, for the future, then you were talking about when Cam Fleming moves on, when Kevin Zeitler moves on, which is probably after this season, and Shane Lemieux and Matt Pert are the real deal. Granted, again, we're talking a lot of ifs. But if this thing plays out the way that it's supposed to, me sitting up here watching the game from 2008 between the Giants and the Carolina Panthers the other day when I was off may not be so far off from what we were going to be looking like coming up soon. Because back then, I'm sitting up here watching that game. I'm sure you remember that one. That's the game we secured the top seed in the NFC that year.
Okay.
We ran for over 300 yards in that game, which was damn near par for the course for the Giants that year. But you look and you see Brandon Jacobs running through people. A name of a guy like Derek Ward, who like when you think of Giants running backs, is that the first name that comes to your mind? No.
Nah.
But at the same time, the man had 215 yards in that game. I'm sitting up here looking at this game, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I miss when our offensive line was like this.
Man.
But then I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, Andrew Thomas, we got our left tackle. I'm thinking that this guy is going to be like, when we picked him, I was just like, yo, you heard me. I'm not mad at this. I like this.
Yeah.
Will Hernandez, who I wanted. If Nick Gates pans out like they've been saying that he is, I'm like, hell, we all knew what was going on with Jalapio and his I don't know what kind of dirt he had on our front office that he kept getting spots or whatever, but he ended up Nick Gates sat up here and he pushed him off the lineup. So I'm like, oh, hey.
We brought back Jalapio too last week, only to cut him again.
He got cut again though. So
yeah. He tried to bring it back to the practice squad and he declined it. Said nope.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm like the good riddance.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No.
But you sit up here and you have a situation where we're going to be set up, if in fact that line plays out like it's supposed to. Daniel Jones is going to have an offensive line where the average age is 24. That's insane.
I think the oldest one would probably be Hernandez. And what he'd probably be like, what, 25, 26?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, could you imagine keeping that core together?
For like the next 10, 12 years.
That's why I'm sitting up here, I'm looking at this offensive line. I am so hyped for y'all. Please pan out.
I'm saying everything that we've been hearing about Lemieux's durability and his just nasty mean streak of just wanting to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Durability too, and playing tackle like UConn. I think that's the only thing I'm happy that we're not just throwing Purdy in week one, because they're still playing D1 football, but the level of competition is a little lower playing at UConn, as opposed to like Andrew Thomas playing in the SEC, playing against
pretty much NFL defenses as they are.
Yeah, like LSU, Auburn, Alabama, playing against his own teammates, Georgia in practice, like even like Tennessee, Kentucky, going up against Josh Allen and all these people. Like you're going up against some of the best defenders in college football for 4 straight years, and I think you only give up 4 sacks in 4 years, something like that.
And didn't give up any his last year.
Yeah, against like all NFL prospects, like with Alabama, how they've been producing D linemen, like it's like I'm happy we got Fleming, put Fleming in the right tackle spot, give him a year. Fleming, whether he does good or bad, hopefully Perkins slide into that right tackle position, lock that down. And if we do decide to move on from Zeitler, I can't remember if this is his last year of his contract or if he has 1 more year. I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I think with him it's just it's a fact of, or it's more of a matter of they think we're going to cut him.
It's also money, and
I
think he's only like 31 right now, but it's also I think he'd make like I want to say the neighborhood of 8 to 9 million next year or something like that. So I know it's going to be a money thing, and probably like they're going to same. It's a business. Your money and your age, injuries and something.
It's football. We know how things go. There's nothing personal with that. It's just like that's just how things are. Once you reach a certain age, you start to become expendable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there anyone on the offense that you have any concerns about?
Well, it's not like it's any one person, but the 2 things I am concerned about probably are, and it's funny to say it, but like our 4th receiver and our running back situation. I'd probably say those 2 things that both concern me the most, because all right, so we were watching the whole time of the draft. We didn't take not one receiver, And then,
Nope.
but then we signed like Benjamin Victor, signed Austin Mack, signed Derek Dillon. We signed like a good amount of receivers. And then we had like Alex Bachman, who was like a whole bunch of people that were killing the whole time. During training camp and everything, only to pretty much get rid of all of them. And now we're rocking with 5 receivers in this first week.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, there's rumors of Golden Tate and how Golden Tate might miss time or how his hamstring is kind of tweaked up, so they don't know what's going to happen with him. So if he can't go, that leaves us to 4 receivers, unless we bring one up, and then it's probably going to be either Bachman or I think we got Ratley too, Damian Ratley from the Browns. So my whole thing is like, even if Golden does go, who's the 4th receiver? Because I saw like some pictures of the depth chart, but I don't know how that official that is. I don't know if they were just I know it's like it said depth chart, but I don't know if they were just listing them or if it was like that's actually how they are in depth chart. I know Sterl's going to be there, Slayton's going to be there, Golden Tate's going to be there, and who's at number 4? So like, is it CJ Board? Is it Damian Ratley? Like, who's the 4 and 5 going there? So that's one thing. And again, now if Tate misses that, then that guy becomes wide receiver number 3. And now if you're talking about somebody like Ratley, who hasn't played with the Giants, who wasn't here the whole time in training camp, who doesn't know Daniel Jones, like doesn't know the offense or the rhythm, and it probably won't be him, which might slide up CJ Board. CJ Board was doing well the entire training camp, so I guess they probably give him the nod as the 4th receiver. I have to like look into this guy more because like honestly I don't know. I don't know if he's an undrafted free agent this year. I don't think he's an undrafted free agent this year. I don't remember seeing any highlights of him or anything like as per last season, so I can't really say what this guy can do. I've heard good things in training camp. I heard he was doing well pretty much every day, and there's always a highlight or something always going on with the guy. So I guess he'd be here before. And then as far as the whole running back situation, it's just me and I know you, and neither of us are big Wayne Gallman supporters. We're not big fans of Wayne Gallman. Just put it out there. Like
I wasn't a fan when we picked him.
nah, me either. I was not a fan of him. So I mean, I don't know. Like the whole time I know a lot of people were pretty high on Javon Leak, and a lot of people were really upset when we released Javon Leak. The guy was, and from what everybody heard, the guy was making the ass. Yeah, I know. Me too. I was too. So a lot of us were sitting here just really confused. Like, the whole time in training camp, making the most of his opportunities, another person. And then he had he was versatile, which is the big word, versatility.
Yep.
Only a running back. He was great out the backfield. The guy was doing play and kick returns, so he was showing that he could do a lot of different things. And then we went ahead and, like, from what I read, like, the Giants and their coaching staff really called out Gallman to step up and, show that he belongs there. And they said that he did that in the Giants' first scrimmage. He scored 2 touchdowns. And then apparently, I don't. Again, I remember just watching Gallman play the whole time he's been here. Everybody now saying this guy has amazing hands. He's great in pass protection, and he can do all these other things. I'm like, where has this been the whole time? Like, we're now when Gallman can catch? Like, not since I've been watching him. I've never seen this man have great hands out the backfield or be. People are like, oh, he's as good as a receiver as Saquon out the backfield. Like, oh, really? Like that. This is how we're like. This is all from hearsay because obviously the seasons we watched him play, that man I have better hands than him, and that's not saying much because he has.
I legitimately have seen him catch one pass
like
in his time with the Giants.
I'm just like I don't know that was a big shock for me that after not just the fact that we kept Gallman, that one wasn't so much. It was more of just like that we just let go of Javon Leak, and it was just like, all right, like what are we doing at running back now? It's just we're still just gonna just rock with Saquon and Gallman because we see how that went last year. Saquon went down and Gallman got hurt. I mean, and then we return from there. John Hillman, like let's try some different things, try something different. I can't remember who. I know other than that we have Eli Penny and
Deion Lewis.
And Deion Lewis. That's the other one I was thinking. I don't know. I always forget this guy. I hope he can. Show something. I know he's only on a 1-year deal, so I mean, I hope he can show something. I know he has some versatility, but I mean that guy's not gonna be running. I mean he did run a little between the tackles, but I don't see him doing that a lot. He'll be receiving out the backfield. He'll probably do some fun kick return possibly, but he reminds me of like a smaller Shane Vereen, and Shane Vereen didn't work out for us. So I don't really know. I'm cautiously optimistic about Deion Lewis on the team, but overall, like that's probably like the one thing that really. Those are the two things I think that really are kind of like concerning me. Because if one of our receivers are to go down, who's the next man up there? And then in the running back spot, like I'm like again, we're both just not crazy for Wayne Gallman. So it's like not even saying something's gonna happen to Barkley, but just to spell Barkley, like just to somebody to come in to give Barkley like a break, at least for a couple plays. Like I'm just not. I'm really still concerned about that running back spot. So those are my two biggest things.
Right. And my concern would be right now is offensive line depth. But the bigger concern for me would be the long-term health of a guy like Sterling Shepard. And I say that because I have lost count how many times this man has had a concussion.
Just last season.
Yeah. So, not trying to speak anything negative into existence. It's just a matter of fact and scientific findings that when you have a concussion, it's very easy to get another one. And they come a little bit easier each time you get another one. And I don't want to have a guy like him go out because of the fact that he just keeps getting rocked for some reason.
Yeah.
So on the offensive side of the ball, like I said, from a football standpoint, it's the depth on the offensive line just because of the fact that there's so many pieces on the O line that are young that you're concerned about the fact that, like, okay, all of these pieces that are starting on the offensive line are young pieces. Okay, what the hell is behind them? Other young pieces that are less experienced, that are less talented. But from a personal standpoint, my biggest concern is the long-term health of Sterling Shepard. Like nothing has happened to him yet. Nothing has happened in training camp, anything like that. It's just a matter of history when it comes to him and the concussions, and hoping and praying that he doesn't end up with anything else going forward.
Yeah.
Now, on
point.
to the most interesting side of the New York Giants, the defense. Who do you believe is going to be your defensive MVP this year?
I don't even know how to answer this question. It's we really defensive MVP. I don't know. Like it's hard. We brought in so many just different pieces. It's hard. We brought so many different pieces, and and it's a whole new. We're gonna be rocking a whole new scheme. It's gonna be like
Yep.
It's all screen. It's all gonna be all week to week, 4-3 one week, 3-4 the next week, and maybe a 3-3 stack one week, and like it's gonna be so tough. I have a name, but I don't want to say the name because I want to. If you're gonna do like a most hype to see, I want to save him for that.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to say a defensive MVP, I mean, I wanted to be like just the D lineman in me wants it to be like Dexter Lawrence and Dalvin Tomlinson. I want them to wreak havoc on the interior, and even if Cat's on the interior or if he gets moved out, I want the D line to just like wreak havoc. I want them to get after whatever quarterback in front of them. I need Strahan, OC, Tuck, New York Giants ball into his back. That's what I need. Like I need all the meeting at the quarterback and just all jumping. Like that's all I need. Like I need to see that like every week, like 5 times a week. Like I need the D line just wreaking havoc and destruction. That's what I want. Like I get so hyped for the defensive side of the ball. Like that's what I'm passionate about. Like again, playing D line too, I tend to mostly, even like when I watch college ball or I or even coaching at the high school or anything like or watching NFL. That's why I tend to sometimes just focus in on too much, and it's like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes I don't know what the corners and the safeties are doing. I don't know what the protections. I mean, I don't know what the defensive coverage is. I don't know if it's a cover one or a three. I'm just watching this guy skipping and ripping, he's clubbing, swimming. I have to see what this guy's footwork is. So like for me, I need the defensive line. It's the whole same way I kind of cheating and do my offensive MVP. I need my defensive line to be my defensive MVP. I need us to get out
Mm-hmm.
of the bottom five of the sacks category. I hate that. Like I that's like the most disgusting stat in the world. It pisses me off when I see that. When it's just like the Giants with 25 sacks, tied for 30th in the league, and I'm like, what is this? Fix this! Like this needs to be
Oh
fixed.
yeah, and then you go look out at the Chargers, and Bosa has like 17 sacks on his own.
Yo, and we got the unit have 20, and this guy has 17 by himself. It's not funny, but it pisses me off. But it's like, this has to change. It has to change.
Mhm.
So that's why I got like. If I have to pick a defensive MVP, that's where I'm gonna go. Since I went with the offensive line for offensive, I go D line for defense.
I hear you. Trust me, I absolutely hear you. I am thinking that I have no freaking idea who the defensive MVP is going to be. However, I have a feeling that this is going to be between two people, and those two people are going to be Dexter Lawrence and Blake Martinez. Just because of the fact that I feel like Blake Martinez gets a bad rap because of his last year in Green Bay. However, he's back under his linebacker coach.
Yeah.
He's in a position that he's going to be able to thrive in. And like I said, when I heard the name, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? So I don't pay any attention to the Packers outside of Aaron Rodgers. So I'm like, who is this dude? Why are we picking him up? What makes him so special? And then I start to hear things. And then I start to see things. And then I start to listen, and I'm like, okay, this dude is a tackling machine. He was very good in pass coverage until like last year when they had him. I believe they had him blitzing damn near all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at it like, again, opportunity. He has the opportunity to actually prove something. And as far as Dexter Lawrence goes, I just figure it's your third year, bro, and it's time to take off. I want to see you. I want to see. You remember Keith Hamilton?
Very vaguely, yeah.
You used to call Keith Hamilton the Hammer. He's a defensive tackle. You remember? Not even Keith Hamilton. What the hell was his name? Damn, I can't remember. Linville Joseph.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. When
Caulfield?
Linville Joseph was here, and he was sitting up here, he was eating offensive linemen for breakfast.
Mm.
That is what I want to see from Dexter Lawrence. I want to see him tossing people aside. Now, I would like to see the same thing from Dalvin Tomlinson, but I'm just targeting in on Dexter Lawrence because, again, that year, of course, last year, I'm sorry. I'm up here saying it's his third year. It's his second.
I say, yeah.
I swear I thought he was 2018, but he's not. He's 2019. That's what Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But he was the other first-round pick.
Yeah.
Let's get that game start to slow down for you. And let's start to impose your will on these offensive linemen out here. All right? Mm-hmm. Again, just like you were saying, I'm sick and tired of this lack of a pass rush. But at the same time, you got a guy playing damn near right alongside you in Leonard Williams, who is a monster when it comes to stopping the run. So if you got a guy out there who is going to be making them second guess about rushing the ball his way, or somebody else who's actually out there saying he's drawing a little more attention when it comes to the offensive line, they start to drop back. Maybe Dexter Lawrence doesn't get double. Maybe he does get a one-on-one, and you got to win those. So I'm out here like I'm hoping and praying that like him and Blake Martinez make the most of the opportunity that's put in front of them right now. But anyway, who are you most hyped for?
Oh, this pick I know. I know this pick. So the person you might know who I'm gonna say. The person I'm most hyped for.
Thinking it.
Thinking it. See if you're right. Person I'm most hyped for. I watched play in college. For the time he was there, and I remember watching him, and I watched like a whole bunch of like YouTube highlights. I just watched him even live when he played. I was like, yo, this dude's like nice. Like, this is a name to remember. Like, this is really a name to remember. Like, I just kept watching, and when he finally entered the draft, I was like, yo, I wonder where this guy's gonna go. Like, because I never thought that we were gonna pick this guy up until like, COVID happened, and uh, we picked up Bradbury, and that dude that we won't talk about got released, and Beal opted out and all sorts of crap. I'm like, now I'm happy we picked this dude up, and I think he's going to be a stud. I'm talking about my man Pro Way Darnay Holmes. I don't know if he's going to start outside or inside. I don't care. He's nickel, slot, dime, corner. Put that man on the field. That dude, from everything I've been reading, is locking everybody up. I don't know, just the Giants receivers right now, so we gotta see how he goes against other people. But from Sterl to Golden Tate to freaking Bachman to everybody they put across this guy, every tweet I got, because I follow Dugan and I follow Stapleton, follow all those dudes on Twitter. Everything I got was Darnay with a pass breakup, Darnay with a pass breakup, Darnay with a pick, Darnay with a pick, Darnay with a pass break. Like, I'm just like, yo, like, what is going on? Like I want to, like, do you remember the years we went to the Giants training camp and just watched? Like, I wanted to get back. I'm like, yo, I need to be out here seeing this. This dude is just like, he's just like locking everybody up. It's like, did not matter. This man said, like, Daniel Jones attempted to pass to Slayton, and it was picked off by Darnay Holmes, ran down the sideline. I'm like, what? Like, this dude's a 4th-round pick, and like, I remember when we were watching it, I remember when we drafted him, and I was like, as soon as like I saw the name, and like as soon as it registered, I was like, yo, that's a great pick. I was like, yo, I love this pick. Like, the more I started to remember, I was like, yo, and I started like, yo, corner for UCLA. I was like, yo, that's the dude I was watching like 3 years ago, yo. I was watching this dude as like a freshman at UCLA. I was like, yo, this kid's gonna be nice, yo. And I'm so hyped that we do. And to do another one, versatility, man. Just playing kick returns too. The guy's highlight reels of just putting kick returns. I'm like, yo, this kid is, oh man. That's a dude, like I said, I obviously did not play secondary. I didn't play corner in high school, but like that dude is somebody that's like a non-D lineman that like makes me like, yo, this dude, I'm hyped for this dude. I want to see this guy on the field because the guy plays, the kid, he looks so smooth on the field. In and out of breaks, transitions, breaking on the ball, his good hands, and then he just has like a swagger and a confidence about him. Like, so I want to see that with him on the field and Joe Peppers on the field. Hopefully McKinney can come back and he can get healthy. McKinney on the field, like we're gonna have like a good young core of guys that even like Bradbury's even young. So like, and I see all these like young potential people, and I'm just like, yo, like secondary, like the corners where the corner depth is a little concerning, and I know we'll get to that. But that's one dude I'm like really excited to see on the field. Like, I really want to see what Darnay Holmes can do. I mean, other than that, I'm just interested to see one. I'm just gonna cheat. I want to name like 3 people, but I want to see. I need a huge breakout season from Lorenzo Carter. I need a huge season for him. I know we transitioned him from outside backer to more of like a put your hand in dirt in, but like whatever he's doing, because he's going to be doing both in this whole multiple system front. I need a breakout season for Lorenzo Carter. I need, when we were just talking about freaking Bosa, I need like 14 and a half sacks. I need something. I need. Now this is his what third year, I believe. I
Yeah.
need. This is his third year. I need, like you said about Lawrence, yo, time to wake up, time to go.
Yep.
Like, because it's either put up or shut up now. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get your 4 years because of your contract, but if you ain't showing me nothing in year three, I'm drafting somebody in the next year that will. So let's
Mm-hmm.
go, put up or shut up. So I need a big season out of him. That's two. And third person, I'm interested. Well, if you're gonna do a most intrigued, I'll hold that one. I'll hold that one if we're gonna do a most intrigued.
What I basically mean by most hype is most intriguing as well. So you can just lump that in there too.
So if I'm going off of just more of an intrigue to see, it's more of the Giants. It's honestly the Giants' edges and linebackers as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to say, if we're going to so for more of like a hype, if you're saying hype, I'm going to say Darnay Holmes and hopefully McKinney when he comes back. If you're going
Mm-hmm.
off of more intriguing, then I want to see because we kept T.J. Brunson, who we drafted. We kept Carter Coughlin, who we drafted. We kept Cam Brown, who we drafted. And then we slid in Devontae Downs as our inside backer, and he's probably projected to be starting week one against opposite
Bro,
Blake Martinez.
from what I heard, Downs earned his spot.
Like, I'm happy to hear it, but that's intrigued. That's intriguing. That's what I want to see now. I want to see week one against the Steelers because the Steelers are going to run that ball at James Conner.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see if Cam Brown and Carter Coughlin are going to see the field goal. Cam Brown's a 6'5" outside linebacker. Where do you hear that from? Like, it's like Leonard freaking Floyd, who we didn't get, thank God, because he's bust. But, I mean, I want to see what's going to happen with Cam Brown. I want to see what's going to happen with Carter Coughlin. He was an edge, and that kid was flying off the ball in Minnesota the year before when he got hurt. Then you got T.J. Brunson, who we kept, and he's a backup inside backer for us, and Devontae Downs. So I want to see what those four guys are going to bring. If they're going to be strictly special teamers, or if they're going to see some time on the field. I mean, Devontae Downs obviously going to start. That's why everything I've read, he's starting opposite Blake Martinez week one. So we'll see. We'll see come week one.
As far as my most hype or my most intrigue, I honestly have to go with the entire secondary as a whole. I was pretty much sold on the fact that Julian Love was going to be going to safety anyway. But with the injury to McKinney, I'm like, okay, now it's pretty much set in stone that he's going to safety.
Yep.
On top of the fact that you have Jabril Peppers coming back from his injury. So I'm looking at our safety positions. I'm looking at the acquisition of Logan Ryan. I'm looking at Darnay Holmes. I'm looking at, James Bradbury, who is going to be expected to be a lockdown, but is still in that prove it kind of stage. You look at a guy like Ballantyne, who was drafted. Honestly, when Ballantyne was drafted, I'm like, who is this dude? Like, it's just.
I knew who he was because of the Senior Bowl, but
I knew nothing about this guy when he was drafted. And to be completely honest with me, I still don't know nothing about him. I know he's been on a roster.
I think it was a 6th round pick out of Washburn University.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm kind of like a borderline stalker when it comes to stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, whatever.
We're joking when he says that. We'll just say because he does a lot of scouting and everything like that. So I don't want anybody taking that and going completely off in the left field with
it. You joke, I call it being passionate. So.
But from what I'm looking at, our secondary, and the reason why I say I'm the most hyped about our secondary is I don't think I've ever seen a Giants secondary with this much talent and potential, especially at the safety position. Because you think back to the time when, Landon Collins was here. I don't even remember who the other safety was at that point. Like, granted, that may be brain damage, but at the same time,
Riley was one of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Bird
we were sitting up there throwing out like
Bennie.
like has-beens and who's what's-its and all kinds of other shit out
Who's
there.
what's it's
Yeah,
who's what's it's
that's pretty much what we were throwing out there to line up as safety.
Oh
And we
yeah.
were just expecting Landon Collins to just be like, all right, go out there and shut down everything, even though Landon Collins was an in-the-box safety.
That
And
dude
it's
could
just,
not cover to save his life.
who couldn't cover for shit. Well, I ain't gonna say he couldn't cover for shit, but at the same time, he wasn't a cover safety. He was a strong safety. He was traditional strong safety. He was damn near a linebacker. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, we got Jabril Peppers. When Jabril Peppers was coming out of college, my man was he was the talk. So it was just like I'm looking at it and I'm just like, okay, we got our guy that can actually be the leader of the secondary in Peppers, or not even so much the leader, but the quarterback of the secondary back there. We got our young stud and Julian Love, who has basically done everything in that secondary.
Mm.
You have Darnay Holmes, who's out there and he is making play after play after play after play. And when I was hearing all of the stuff about how he decided that he wanted to learn how to play chess when he was in college and joined a chess club and started playing chess against these quarterbacks just to get inside the head of a quarterback and say, okay, if you are thinking X, Y, and Z in this chess situation, that means we're going to be thinking A, B, and C out there on the football field when it's 3rd and 11 and there's like 3 minutes left on the clock and you guys need a touchdown. So the man is a student of the game. He's a student of getting into other people's. Hey, he's damn near a psychologist out there on the field. And then I said, you got Bradbury out there who's out trying to prove the fact that he deserved the contract that he got. And then you have the lingering Xavier McKinney, who was not supposed to be a New York Giant by any means whatsoever. That guy was supposed to be a Cowboy till CeeDee Lamb fell in the draft for some damn reason. Then he fell all the way to the 2nd round. And when we see this name come up on the draft board, I saw that because I was at work at the time, right?
Mm.
So I'm sitting up here, and all I see is Sportsmark just go crazy. All of these damn messages just coming up at the same time. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I can't check it, but then I hear it on the radio. The Giants drafted Xavier McKinney, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh man, I was going crazy. All the messages.
After I'm thinking, are you kidding me? The next thing was just like, bruh. And then it was a bunch of profanity. But but it wasn't in the negative sense. It was positive. It was just like, this is going to be amazing. Because there's so much potential for what is going to happen with this secondary. The Giants for a long time, like when I was growing up, when I want to say when I became a Giants fan, and this is going all the way back to the 80s, the Giants were all about their linebackers. Now, granted, defensive line was there. They were good. They didn't suck or anything, but they weren't the focal point, right? So you move on to the next set of Super Bowl champion teams. It was all about the D line on the defensive side of the ball. It was all about the defensive line. It was NASCAR. It was the 4 aces back when Strahan was on the field and everything like that. Now, we're sitting up here about to go into a new area where even though, like I said, your front 7 is still the most important part of the defense, the most talented part of that defense is probably going to be in the secondary. Because of all, like I said, all of this potential that you have back there with Holmes, with McKinney, with Peppers, with Love, with Bradbury. And that's not even counting what potentially could be from Ballantyne or Logan Ryan back there helping them out. So I'm sitting up here and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this secondary, and I'm just like, you guys have my eye right now. Or what's that saying? How it goes? You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So I am really looking forward to what they produce and what they put out there on the field. Um, I was gonna say last but not least, but it's not last. As far as your concerns, what would you say would be your concern for the defense?
Uh, my concerns. It's funny how we have different perspective on looking at a lot of things, but we also have like a lot of the same perspective. Uh, Me again, it's not so much concern. Well, it is concern. So I'll say the secondary as a whole is where I'm intrigued. My concern is the corners. So my whole thing is when I look at it, okay, you have Bradbury as your one. Now I know we're paying. Was Logan's getting $8 million from us for a season?
I believe
I
so.
believe it's 8. So they said they're probably Logan. They said they were saying Logan's going to start, and at first everybody was saying he's going to play safety, but now you have Julian Love back there as your free safety.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Love and you have Jabril playing your safety spots, which means from the other depth chart that I was reading, they have Valentine slated as number 2. Now you slide in Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan number 2. Darian Holmes more than likely becomes your nickel slot dime. My thing is after that, you have Valentine, who, from what I remember last year, and again, it's a 6th-round pick, thrust onto the field. So, maybe it's the same thing, growing pains, just a lot of different factors might have, messed him up. The speed of the game and everything. My whole thing, again, is like, you have Bradbury as your 1, Logan plays your 2, Darnay's your 3, which leaves Valentine as your 4. But Valentine I wouldn't put into that slot position, which makes him the only other person that really can play the outside. And I'm not a huge fan of that. Of him playing the outside position, I don't know. In limited time last year, the guy had a couple. I remember even like that Redskins game, the second time we played them, I think he gave away 2, we still won the game, but he gave away 2 crucial penalties to keep the game alive for the Redskins. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's tough being just thrown into that position, but I don't know.
You're an NFL player and you're expected to do it.
Yeah. So it's like, it was like next man up. Like, you got to step up. So it's just to me, it's just kind of like a concern as far as depth, because, again, you don't wish and pray on anybody. If somebody goes down, Valentine's next man up, and then after that, you got another guy, Brandon Williams, next man up. And then it's just going to be it's just intriguing because I want to see if McKinney comes back after 2-3 games, but Julian Love is playing great at free safety. What do you do there? Is it going to be? Are you going to still try to force them both on the field, or do you take off Love, who's earned the spot and got them in one spot and has been producing well for you, and put McKinney back out there as free safety, and now Love's just playing? Where does Love fit in again? But he's too good of a player to sit on the bench. So then does he take Darnay's spot and Darnay slides down? It's just a lot of things to me. I'm just like, what happens here? Maybe you drop Jabril down to play some type of linebacker position or something
I think that's how that will work out. Somebody's going to be a money backer.
That's why I'm seeing it's going to happen. It's going to be. I think it's going to end up either being Jabril or it's going to be McKinney. But one of them's going to go in because McKinney again can blitz the passer and everything. He did that at Alabama. So one of them I do think is going to slide down and just be another backer off the edge or something, because it's just too many pieces for you to keep sliding in and out. Now, again, if Julian Love goes back to free safety and really shits the bed, then I understand if you put McKinney in. But if the kid goes back there and however long McKinney's out, 3-4 weeks, and Julian Love producing great numbers, has 2 picks, shutting it down in the back for free safety, you don't just snatch him out. So to me, it's again, I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do when McKinney comes back, and my only concern is just that corner depth because if we have to slide Ballantyne out to number 2, I think it's gonna be a long season. Like
Yeah.
so, those are my only 2 points.
My biggest concern is pass rush, and it's been pass rush, and until they prove to me that they can rush the passer, it's going to stay pass rush. You brought up Lorenzo Carter earlier. My thing about Lorenzo Carter is they I believe I forgot which one of these scrimmages it was, but he sat up here and he torched our offensive line. Ended up with 3 or 4 sacks on the day. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yeah, it's great, or that's trash. And I can't really tell the difference because it's us against us. So I'm just like, I don't know. Should I be praising Carter or should I be telling the offensive line to get their shit together? I'm not quite sure which one it is. I don't know who missed what block, or if Carter was just that damn good coming off the edge. The other thing is, I don't really. This kind of sort of goes into the intrigue part as well. Is the Carter Coughlin thing, because Carter Coughlin is also one hell of a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see, will that translate to the NFL, because you had him in talks of being the number 1 pick. What was it? Last year?
It was a
What the
year or
hell?
two ago. It was a year or two ago. He had really high draft stock. I think he was coming off
Yeah.
a crazy monster year.
So he sat up here, and whether I don't remember whether it was an injury or whether he just fell off the face of the earth, but I want to say it's an injury because I don't think it was the latter.
I want to say it's injury. I'll look it up real quick.
Like I said, but you had this situation where he was up there in the same type of echelon as your Josh Allen's, and if he can put that onto the field, then we'll be in damn good shape, especially if Lorenzo Carter comes through as well. It's just a matter of, right now there's a lot of skepticism within me because of the fact that we haven't had a solidified and just dominating pass rush in damn near 10 years now. So that's really the one thing on the defensive side of the ball that's irking me and irritating me, and I want to say concerning me the most out of anything else. The rest of it is depth at every single position, except for safety. Safety is the only thing I just don't give a shit about because I think that we're just massively strong there. But
So
at every other position, of course, there are concerns and things because of depth, like who's going to be playing behind who, just in case there are injuries or anything.
So Coughlin didn't have any injuries. It was honestly just that it was more of like a down year for him. Was really what killed him. Because as a true freshman, he had 2 sacks, and then his sophomore year, he finished with 6.5 sacks and 11.5 tackles for loss. And then his junior year, he had a good season. He had 9.5 sacks. He had 15 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles. Then his senior year, he had a down year. He had one more tackle, but he had 9.5 tackles for loss, and only 4.5 sacks. So he fell off.
Yeah, so his sack total went down.
Yeah, his sack total went down by 5, and his tackles went down by almost half. So I think he fell off, and I know I think it was probably also another transition because I think it said he transitioned kind of like from an edge to an outside backer, and then PJ Fleck came in his last year, and I'm pretty sure it was some differences and just different transitions going into it. But I hope we got stealing that dude. I really
You and me
do.
both.
I really
You
do.
and me both. Moving on to the next one, which is going to be real quick, honestly, because I'm not even going to sit up here and say MVP or hype on anything when it comes to special teams. Are there any concerns that you have for the special teams? Granted, we have this special teams coordinator is now our head coach now.
No, honestly, I think that's probably going to be one of our stronger points because I don't think we give up a kick return for a touchdown last year?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I think our certain teams. I don't know. I don't remember about punt, but I don't believe our kickoff gave up a touchdown at all last year. And those special teams were
No.
pretty. Our special teams was like a pretty solid group. That's one of the main
Mhm.
reasons Judge kept the dude. Thomas McGahee, I think. I think that's his name. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, McGahee, something like that. But I think that's going to be a solid group again this year. I know Diassi retired, and wish him the best of luck in all future endeavors. Guys, career giant, might be in the Ring of Honor or something one day. Great guy.
Mhm.
But I know he stepped in. Casey Kreider stepped in, and I believe he was like a one-time former Pro Bowler or something like that for the Broncos. So we picked him up as a long snapper. Um, I want to just hopefully our punter is just is consistent. We got Riley Dixon still.
He stayed, yeah.
Yeah, it's the punter. Name always escapes me. And then I'm actually really happy we picked up Graham Gano too. Like I before his injury and everything, like that was a Pro Bowl punter, a Pro Bowl kicker.
Mm-hmm.
He kicked a freaking 6'3" against us to beat us. So that I couldn't believe that. We should have won that game anyway. We got screwed over that game with the Panthers.
Yeah, we did.
We really got screwed
Ourselves
over.
and by the refs.
Yeah, we did. We really did. But that dude's like a Pro Bowl caliber punter to me. We got that guy. We brought him in, and I think he'll have a good year. I think he should have a really big year for us. I think he's an upgrade over Rosas. So I think our special team is going to be fine. Hopefully Graham Gano steps in and does a good job. That's all I really gotta say about that. Because I think our unit's good. So I hope it's just more of the same. Just progress.
Right. I'm kind of sort of the same mindset. I believe that our unit is going to be good. I have two concerns. One of them is personal trauma because I'm a Florida State fan and all of our kickers suck.
Oh God.
So
I don't have no problem.
there's all of this. Shut up. There's all of that trauma or whatever because of the fact that Graham Gano is our kicker now, and I'm just like, ugh. As long as I don't end up hearing wide right ever again or wide left, I'll be fine. The other thing that it doesn't necessarily trouble me. It's just the fact that I don't want us to get too cute with stuff. Is I saw us practicing fake punts and fake field goals and all kinds of stuff like that. And one of the plays does call for Riley Dixon to throw. So I'm just like, it's just, I'm getting a little concerned at things like that when you have people other than, your actual quarterback throwing the ball and things like that. It's just a little thing with me that does that. Like even when a couple of years ago we had Odell Beckham throw that touchdown pass to Saquon, I was just like, what do you know? I hate that mess.
Doing too much.
I know you can do it, but we have a quarterback for a reason. I don't like them doing stuff like that. But again, Judge, he's a special teams guy. The Parcells used to run fakes all the time. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I just don't want us to get too cute when it comes to actually faking and stuff like that.
Faking yourself.
Which could end us. Yeah, we ended up beating ourselves. I hate having that looming over my head. The fact that we had this game in the bag and we decided to do something, stupid and it ended up costing us a game.
Yeah.
But like I said, those are like just nitpicks when it comes to me. Again, like I said, one's personal trauma. The other one is just me being like, you know what? I don't want us to start doing, too much.
Too much, yeah. That's always. Yeah, I get that.
Now, on to the big one.
What else is left? I feel like we're over everything.
On to the big one, right?
Yeah.
The biggest question going into the 2020 season for the New York Giants. How many Daniel Jones jerseys are you going to put? No, I'm not. I'm fucking with you. What do you think our season record is going to be this year?
People are probably going to hate me. I'll tell you that now. Um, what did we do last year? 4-12?
I believe so. I believe we were either 4-12 or five. No, we were 4-12.
4-12, 4-12. We're 4-12.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 7-9. That's what I'm. That's what I'm thinking. I'm
that's
thinking.
fair
I'm
because
thinking
that's
7.
actually where I was going.
I don't want to say like I don't want to just say 6-10, but like I want to give us a little. I think we got one more game in us. I want to go 7-9. We're not gonna. I'm not saying we're making playoffs. Got this big championship run, and Daniel Jones throws for 60 touchdowns and no picks and fumbles, and Saquon runs for 8,000 yards, even though he probably could do it. Like I'm not.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I think 7-9 is fair. We got a lot of young talent. We got it's everybody's almost like it's like a blank. It's the first year for everybody. Like regardless if you're, Saquon has been in the league 3 or 4 years, or your Zeitler has been in the league like 10, 11 years. Everybody's first year. It's a whole new head coach, whole new coaching staff, dang near top to bottom. I think the only person that they kept was Thomas, the special teams
Yeah.
coordinator. Everybody else from top to bottom is new. So you got running back coaches, you got everything. So it's year one to everybody. You got everything brand new. It's all this COVID crap is happening. It's unfortunate, but like I just want to see progression. I want to see progression on every level. From Daniel Jones, I want to see him get. I want to see him get a little better. I want to see the O line get better. I want to see the D line. I want to see the corners and safeties. I want to, I want to see all that. I want to see Judge's progression as a coach. I want to see these players, come in from week 1 to week 16. Like I want to see week to week progression. I want to see from week 1 to week 2. All right, we learned that we can give this person the ball more. We've learned that this person needs some more snaps. This person needs some more reps on defense. This person can play coverage this way. Like I need to see new game plans, new schemes, and I need to see progression week to week. Like as long as if we're trending in the right direction, then I'm fine. Like I'm saying, I'm not sitting up here. I'm not one of these people that's like, yo, like we got Andrew Thomas and we got Jerry McKinney. We're going 12-4. Like no, like we're
Absolutely not.
We're not doing that. Like
especially not with the schedule we have.
no, give me. I want solid progression. We went 4-12 last year, and that's why I was saying I'm hesitant to say 6-10, but I want to teeter on that 6-10, 7-9 record. Like I want to go 7-9. We go 4-12 to 7-9. We get plus 3 more wins this year. It shows us trending in the right direction. We got a lot of young pieces. All those person on the field on the offense is Zeitler. The only person on the defense, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be like Marcus Golden. So like I think he is, and he's the only person. I think he's like 30, 31 years old, and everybody else.
I believe Logan Ryan too. How old is Logan Ryan?
I don't even think he's that old. Let me see. Logan. Maybe he is. Let's see. Logan Ryan is 29.
Okay.
So 29-year-old Logan Ryan, and he turned 29 this year. So he ain't turned 30 this year. But 29-year-old Logan Ryan and like 30, 31-year-old Marcus Golden. Everybody else on the field, when I can think off the top of my head, is about 26 or younger. I think Bradbury's 27, and I think everybody else is like 26 and younger. And like I said, in the offense, the only person you got is Zeitler, who's in his 30s. Everybody else is like, and Golden Tate. They're like both 30 or 31, 32. That's it. So it's a young team. It's a whole new coaching staff, and I just want to see progression. That's what I want to see. Week to week, making different adjustments and, just getting better every week and tweaking things and learning things and learning. Because, again, like you said, like you can only see how good you are against your teammates. Like in the scrimmages, it's different. It's not a game. Like you're not playing the Steelers, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL, who've been game planning for you since the schedule came out, like, or since the season ended last year, like, and they freaking look up and see, oh, we have the Giants, we won the 2020 season, cool. Let's start the game plan for Saquon now. Like, it's just, and let's get after Daniel Jones and know they're all, we know they're going to attack the offensive line in the draft or free agency, but let's get after him and let's put the pressure on this young quarterback and see if he folds. So, that's my outlook on the season. I know a lot of people have either said we're going like 2-14, or people have got us going like 13-3, and I'm like, all right, you guys gotta chill. Like, we're not gonna be we're not gonna be a top 2 pick, but we're not gonna be number 28. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like,
no.
7-9, solid progression, and let's move on to the year 2.
And then we trade up for Jamar Chase.
And that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. We're 7. The only thing that sucks is if we go 7-9, we're not getting Micah Parsons. Just gonna say that, or Greg Rousseau. I take Greg Rousseau too. So I gotta start scouting people. Oh, all right, whatever. Fine by me.
That's your job, bro.
Look at my mock draft right now. I need my prospect list, man.
Yeah, I'm of a similar mindset. I'm looking at 7-9. If you want me to be super, super optimistic, I'll say 8-8. You look at the way the team is set up. Again, we are incredibly young. And with this offseason, the way that it was, absolutely everything was working against us. You don't have anything traditional. You don't have your traditional setup. You don't have your mini camps, your rookie camps. You don't have your OTAs and all that other stuff. All of this stuff was done by Zoom. And then you turn around and you go into training camp and you have all of these restrictions in training camp. You go into the season, and New Jersey, I believe New York did it too, but, we don't play in New York. So mandated no fans in the stadium at all. Now, John Mara was speaking to, the press the other day, and he was saying that he's in constant contact with Phil Murphy, and he was saying, like, they've been, shooting stuff up against the wall, basically trying to say, like, okay, at some point, are we looking at being able to do X, Y, and Z and everything like that? But first and foremost is health and safety. So, of course, there's a possibility that we're going to go through this entire season with no home field advantage other than the fact that we're in our own locker room and they're in our own bed during the week. Whereas we got to go to Dallas. Texas may have stuff a little bit different. Washington may have stuff a little bit different. It's just one of those things where, home field advantage for us isn't going to be home field advantage for somebody else. So I'm looking at all of these different things, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like there wasn't a chance for anything to be traditional for us anyway, because of the fact that we have a whole new coaching staff. We have a whole new system. We have a whole new – well, I'm not going to say a whole new regime because Gettleman is here. But this is Gettleman's pick as his – pretty much going to be his last head coach or whatever. And Judge is going to go at that. I'm looking at this year as maybe a wash, that they'll go out there and just be like, all right, it is what it is this year. We're not going to hold this one against you because everything was so screwed up. But at the same time, again, maybe it's just me being an optimist. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, let's see this improvement. Let's double that win total from last year. Hopefully we get to 8-8. Hopefully we're playing meaningful games in December, trying to fight for a playoff spot to see if we're going to be, actually breaking through and going to that next level. I like I said, you said it earlier, I just want to see improvement. I want to see progression. But that's pretty much all I got. What about you, man?
No, I think we've gone over everything but the practice squad players. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Remind me to look at Carlos Bassam Jr.
Who?
He's an edge from Wake Forest, man. We might have to go edge in the draft. We just have to.
Hey.
I gotta start looking.
Do me a favor. Also scout Bobby Lashley from the WWE.
Guy's past his prime, man.
I think he's like 45. But anyway.
bring back Herschel Walker, backup Saquon for a year.
Oh my goodness.
15 years old, rocking people in the UFC. Dude quit, got too bored for him. Like what? Yo, oh my god.
That is terrible. Next thing you know, we'll be calling Mike Tyson up to be our new I don't know. I don't even want to go there with him. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And here's to where's my cup? Okay, here we go. Raising my glass. I don't have a red cup, but I'm raising my glass to what I hope is a very eventful and a very, very good football season. Not even just for us, just a very good season because I needed my football back.
Yo, hey, you and me both, man. I'm sure millions of other people did. Struggling out here. Dang. All right,
man. Anyway, again, thank you guys for watching. Like Sports Market Analyst. Drop your comments. Subscribe to us. Share the video with your friends and family. All right? Appreciate you. Y'all take care.